Okay, today I want to talk about medical directors. It's a very hot topic these days, and I see so many people asking questions in online forums and other places about where to find a medical director. And the most disturbing question is, where can I find an affordable medical director? And why this is disturbing to me, not because I'm not a bargain hunter, because I love me a TJ Maxx deal, but having a in the practice of medicine, which is what we are doing in medical aesthetics, we are practicing medicine. It's really important to understand the role of the physician. In CPOM states like California, CPOM being corporate practice of medicine, where there's a prohibition against the corporate practice of medicine meaning a lay person or a lay company practicing medicine, there must be some kind of professional structure in place, typically a professional medical corporation that has a required minimum percentage ownership by the physician. In California, that's 51%. In some states, it's 100% owned by the physician. So uh, this is required by law. And as I've said, my primary focus in helping people in this industry is regulatory compliance. I want to make sure that everyone's license is safe because without your licenses, we don't have an industry. And then I have to go do something terrible like family law or something. Um, at any rate, I'm looking for an affordable medical director is a big, it gives me great pause. And it's kind of a red flag because I feel it appears that that person asking that question is not considering the importance of the physician in the structure and that the physician is essentially the boss. Why is this percentage ownership required by a physician? Because the law, the medical boards of the many states, believes that physicians should be the primary decision maker for all clinical decisions. That's why their majority ownership is required. So that being said, we have to understand the medical director is the boss. The doctor, you as allied licensees, physicians, extenders, work for the doctor, not the other way around. Now, we in the legal field create a structure that actually gives the allied licensee, the boots on the ground person, sometimes even a lay person, as much control as we possibly can over the business aspects of the operation. But the clinical aspects of the operation have to be completely default for final decision making to the physician. Uh, the words we say in this industry and in all highly regulated industries like law and medicine can get us into trouble and keep us out of trouble. And remember, anything you post on the internet is discoverable in a legal proceeding. I have seen when I defend these board investigations or accusations filed against medical professionals, I have seen the investigators and or the attorney general use Instagram posts, the way the Instagram profile is set up, the way other social media review sites are set up. I have seen them use that against a provider. So the words we say and the way we put those things together can be our best friend and or our worst enemy. Um, so when we say I'm looking for a medical director or I'm looking for affordable medical director, that kind of piques the curiosity of these investigators that are the law enforcement arm of the many boards in the many states. Um, uh, um, every state has different laws, but in California, the requirements for a supervising physician are as follows. The doctor must be geographically convenient. That's what it says on the medical board website. Now, having conducted or defended people in multiple interviews and accusations, I know that that means 45 minutes away or less. You could stretch it a little bit, but more than that is going to raise a red flag. The physician must be trained in and able to perform all of the services being provided. They must visit the clinic, or in the case of a mobile practice, meet with the provider monthly at a minimum. And these investigators will ask you, remember, these are the California rules. And some of these rules aren't specifically written down, but if you don't follow these tenets that I'm setting forth, you will pique the great interest of the various boards. Reviewing charts is part of supervision, even though there's no longer a minimum chart review in California anymore. Reviewing charts is included in the definition of supervision under the Med Board's definition. There must be standardized procedures, protocols. Now we have a robust protocol package that we offer to our clients. This is California compliant, and that must be signed by the physician and all providers that are working under that physician's supervision. And it must be signed annually, and it must be in hard copy on site, and you must keep those signature pages and the protocols for 7 years, because that's how long the board has to come after a provider for something that was complained about regarding them. The physician must be available at all times when services are being provided, or you must be able to say that he or she is. This also impacts the medical director fee. Again, a lot of people are looking for that cheap or affordable medical director. I recommend that your medical director fee be $1,000 a month or more. I know that there are these companies, and I'm going to get to that in a minute, this docs4u.com that will charge less or pay the medical director less. Some of these companies that provide a medical director will charge, let's say, $1,300, but the doctor is only getting $500 in his or her pocket. So all these requirements that I have articulated to you, it's unlikely that the doctor is going to meet those. I did say trained in and able to perform all the services being provided, right? Because the board looks at it this way: a doctor can't supervise what he or she cannot do. When I defend people in these interviews, pre-accusation interviews or in accusations, the interviewers always ask, where did you meet that medical director? I just did an interview a couple weeks ago, and the client was an RN, and she had worked with 3 doctors in the last 6 years. Nothing wrong with that. But for every doctor, the investigator asked her, where did you meet that doctor? And she fortunately had met all the doctors she had worked with organically. They also wanted proof that the doctor owned that minimum 51% of the medical corporation, wanted proof that the doctor was coming in on a regular basis. And we provide documentation to our clients so that they can follow that and make sure they fill out a report each month when the doctor comes in, and asked to see the standardized procedures, protocols, make sure they were signed off on by the physician, and wanted to see the medical director agreement, which sets out the fee. So they're looking at that too. And if they see a super low fee, they get really suspicious, because it's less likely that the doctor is going to actually meet all the supervisory requirements if the fee is low. At the end of the interview, after they turn the tape off, because they tape them, I always ask the interviewers questions, because inquiring minds want to know, and it helps me when I'm talking to, clients and potential clients about things that happen out there in the wild, wild world. And I said, hey, note that my client had met all her medical directors through someone she knew or had worked with them before. Do you all have a reaction when someone says, I found my doctor through md4u.com or whatever? And he said, it is absolutely a huge red flag, and it can lead to greater scrutiny on our part when we're investigating. Another issue that comes up is these, turnkey companies that charge you a fee and purportedly provide you with all these documents to open your own med spa. I've seen a lot of people have problems when they get involved with these kind of companies because they will provide you with legal documents. They are not a lawyer, they are not your lawyer. And these companies are run by lay people who don't have licenses at stake. And if they put you in a non-compliant structure, they don't have a dog in that fight. Their license, they don't have a license to be at risk. Your license can be at risk. I preach compliance, like I said, from the mountaintop. And we have to keep in mind that, again, medical aesthetics is real medicine. It comes with the same compliance requirements as an OBGYN practice, a psych practice, a primary care practice, an internal medicine practice. You get the idea. So all of the things you learned in nursing school, PA school, apply. The charting requirements, the supervision requirements, your scope of practice requirements, they all apply. I am going to continue to put out information to you all, and I hope this was helpful.